so chuffed. I've been wanting to cut this for like 2 months or 3 months since we had the delivery, but it was just finding time because I wanted to make the unit. Look at it. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Okay, drink and then we'll carry on. Okay, I am done. I'm not cutting anymore. Holy hell, is it hot here in Czech. I have a big job to do today. And I'm not looking forward to it, to be honest, because it is a lot of moving logs. It's a lot of cutting, but you know, we gotta get it done. So, come with me to the woodshed. Okay, we had a wood delivery like a month ago, 2 months ago. I'm only now getting time to go through it. All these are gonna be taken out. They're gonna be cut and stacked. But that's not all. You gonna help? Come. Got all of these to cut as well. The plan is to take them all out and then set up some cutting station and go through and cut them all. But first, we need to move all this. Oh, all of this. Hi. All of this is going to be taken out, stacked outside, because in here behind me I want to build a storage unit like this one. It's just a lot of work, and it's about 36 degrees right now, so I know, I'm not looking forward to this. Let's go. You are lucky because you get to just sit there and enjoy this while I absolutely roast. Okay, first job, get them all out. Just make a big pile here on the floor. Well, move the dog's pool first. Make a big pile here on the floor. We need to then build a unit in there, and then we can just start chopping and yeah, slowly make our way through it. So, you ready? I'm not. Let's go. saw that I'm using is just a table saw, one from my other videos, and I can't cut these big ones, so any too big, I'll just put them here, and later in the year I'll just buy a chainsaw to cut them up, but for now it's not needed. Okay, just gonna stop for a drink. Oh my god. Whew, gotta stay hydrated in this heat. Okay, that's the last one. I drop this off, I go get a brush so we can give it a sweep out, and we'll come up with a plan. Okay, here's what I'm thinking. This is just like an old, I don't know, painting table or something. It's very thin. You know, you can hear it's hollow. Underneath is pretty solid ground. But I'm going to be putting a lot of weight on this, so I need to reinforce it. So I'm going to take this away. That's my plan. We're going to take that away. Now I have some... Ah, shit. Oh, it's dusty. I have some thick dogs. That's what they are. Bless her. Yo. It's hot, isn't it? Yes, it is. Who's your good girl? She's sunbathing. Easy life for a dog, isn't it? Oh, here's the other one. What have we got? Hey, give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. Okay. Good boy. Bring him back. Hey. Good dog. Kind of. Ready, quit. Oh, she beat him to it. Yeah, sorry, got distracted with the dogs now. Okay, so I have these big timbers in here. I have these solid beams. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna take this, cut it, well obviously measure the size in there from the wall to the wood that I'm going to take out is so hot I can't think, but yeah, I'm going to measure that and cut this, because I think I have more of them somewhere, but I think literally one will be perfect. So I'll measure it, I'll cut it in strips, and I can lay this down first, and then I can build the frame on top of it with all the other wood I have. Now it's an outdoor woodshed, it's just for storage. I don't need to invest money into it. This is all free wood that I bring from work, so I don't need to buy cement bricks, slabs, whatever. It's pointless. It's no need. If I don't have it, doesn't matter. So let's get this cut, get that swept and moved out of the way, have a drink, wipe my face because it's hot as a hot thing. Yeah. Hope you're enjoying. Squat, my brain's fried. Let's go. Okay, slight change of plan. I have a load of different beams and I bring more of them home than I do the long flat ones, and I can use them for a roof later in the year or for the bench outside, doesn't matter. But I have these smaller ones, these basically. I have a load more of these and I brought even more home this time when I came from work. So I'm going to use a load of these. I'm going to cut them to the length. I'm going to basically nail on a long board at the end and basically make a very solid kind of reinforced base. This can then sit down and then I can just build the quick structure on top of it. That's the plan. But since I'm going to be cutting anyway and I need to cut a load of these, I'm going to clear this space, get the table in here, get the table saw in here, get it all wired up, and then it's ready to go when I need it as well later. So let's do that. Okay, so that's basically kind of how it's gonna look. Now obviously I need to cut other pieces, one to go on the very back there, and then one to go at the front. But there is quite a few gaps underneath all this, and I have about 3 or 4 buckets of soil from plants that died. So I'm gonna bring them in, put them in between it. I'm going to try and level it out as much as I can, and then we'll get to cutting and we'll get a base sorted, you know? Get there. Okay, so it's just kind of a rough idea. I'll level it out a little better in a minute, but it's just kind of to fill sort of every gap that's under it, and then I'll probably fill in between the timbers as well and compact it, and that should make it as good as I need. But I thought I had more soil in pots, but I don't. I don't know what happened to it, but there's a mound or a kind of an earth pile in the garden that I've been trying to get rid of for the last year and a half. So we'll go fill up some buckets and we can use that to fill the rest of it. Probably 2-3 more buckets for the whole thing, so let's go. Well, that was a lot more awkward to put it down than I was expecting. Probably should have, you know, made it from this side, but it doesn't matter. That's the basics. Don't need to be any more perfect than that, so I'll put this board on now and then we'll fill some of the gaps. Happy days. Now let's just I'm contemplating filling in a lot of it. The problem we have, see, is there's a lot of wood to cut, and I don't want a lot of it resting against this and the wall. The walls in this house are absolutely awful, so I don't really want it resting on the walls at all if I can help it. So I think I need to I'll come up with a plan. First a drink, because I am dying. Thirsty as Okay, I have a plan. If this room was obviously bigger, I would attach the side posts to the side, but I can't do that, and I'm not going to faff around with it because it's just a woodshed. So I'm going to fill these all in with the soil, dirt, just compact it, just make it kind of hard, level, solid, whatever. And then I'm just going to basically make 3 squares, you know, out of the long timbers that I have. They'll sit on top, the 3 squares, and I'll just put a few pieces of wood on the inside just to keep them together, and that will be the whole structure to then put all the wood in. So yeah, let's I got a few buckets. I got 1 or 2 buckets to empty. No, I don't. I tell a lie, I got none. We'll start filling it and then we'll just go from there. do. That'll do for the base. It doesn't need to be full. Mices and stuff are going to dig in it anyway, but it's just to fill the gaps. At least something. Okay, now we can build the 3 squares. Just quickly measure the wood in here for the width. And then we can take it outside because there's not much space in here. And then once we've done that, then we can start cutting. Oh, it's hot for this, isn't it? Isn't it hot? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Ah. Hi. No, you good boy. I didn't quite think this through. Because I'm going to have to just drag this into the shed now. Well, you know, it's all good fun. Okay. Okay, so the size, how does it look? Yeah. Okay, so the size is perfect. So, I think I'm going to do like another 4. So I have 5 in total. I don't know, I'm gonna make them as I go along. But I don't have any more of the long screws, so I'm gonna have to go to the shop. But it's closed now. Yeah, so tomorrow morning I'm gonna have to go to get some more, and then we'll carry on. So we'll leave it as it is. I'm going for a swim because it's hot as hell. So see you tomorrow. Oh, good morning. While you've been sleeping, I've been busy working. Right now it's about 8:30, I think. Yeah, 8:45. And I am ready for a swim because it is hot here. It's one of the hottest days we've had for a long time. But let me show you what I've been up to. So, thought I'd get an early start on it this morning. And I put together the basic structure because you saw yesterday I did the square. So I didn't think there was any point to show you again more squares. So as you can see, I put together 4 squares. 4 squares. They're just kind of sat in place at the minute. You see, 4 perfect squares. So now the plan is to find some find some of these pieces of wood. I'll start with some of the thicker pieces like these. Any of the thickest but not kind of nice pieces. Any of the thickest pieces, because they're just going to get buried under the wood. And some of these up here. And I'll start in the sides. Yeah, that's what I'll do. Start from the sides. Put a board across, you know, level these two, get them in the perfect places. And then do the same thing to this side. Put a board across, you know, obviously make them level. Then do the top, a board across, and the top here, a board across. So that way everything is kind of secured a little bit better and more level-ish, you know. And then I can just go along with more boards and kind of nail them in places just to give it a bit of extra support. And then we can start cutting the mammoth task of a lot of these I'm not going to be able to cut. So like this one. This is bigger than the size of my hand. Because the only thing I have to cut, I did a video before, but the only thing I have to cut is this, a table saw. And that doesn't cut through, well, I mean, the way that I do it is unsafe anyway, because I cut it a little bit, turn the wood, cut it, turn the wood, cut it, turn the wood. It's not great, but it is what it is. So there's a lot of pieces that I will not be able to cut, and they're just gonna basically stay here for now. And then later in the year, probably before Christmas, I'll just buy myself a chainsaw and cut them up. But the rest of the pieces, you can see they're small enough that I can cut 90%. I can cut 90% of them on the table saw, get them put away, start stacking it as high as possible. So that's why I need to make sure the sides and the sides are as reinforced as possible, because there's going to be a lot of weight obviously pressing on them. So that's the plan for today. I hope you're all doing well in whatever you're doing. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever you are in this beautiful world. So let's first I'm gonna have a drink because I am thirsty. Oh, I just remembered that I actually have my iced coffee here, which I forgot about. So it's not so iced anymore. There she is. This is probably now like literally pure hot coffee. But you know, cheers. This was full of ice, you know, but oh my god, it's literally lukewarm. That is, yeah, it's very hot here. What's the temperature at the minute? Oh, lovely, lovely. So I need to buy a new thermometer because you can't see. Oh, I can't see anything with glasses. The numbers are there. The numbers are there, but it's so faint. Yeah, the bottom ones are okay, but the top ones, but it's just under 35. And this is in the shade, so yeah. It's warm, yeah, it's very warm. But, you know, it's part of the reason we moved here, so. Okay, enough rambling. I don't know. Will I finish it all today? Maybe, we'll see. Let's crack on. Key the music. And sit back, enjoy. Okay, so I know the width of that now is 111. So now basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through, yeah, all of these pieces. I got long pieces on the top, and I'm just going to get a pile here on the floor of everything which is basically over 111. First, there will be some which won't be, and then what I'll do is I'll just find ones that are big enough to do 2 of the boards and not all 4 of them, if that makes sense. And I can scatter the wood, like one here, one there, kind of like stairs, but either or. But I need to find as many as I can for the full length because I want them to be together, attached. If that makes sense? Does it make sense? I know what I mean. I know what I mean. So yeah, let me find all the wood. We'll get a pile going, and then I'll show you more about the next step. Ah, look at that. See? This is why I collect random pieces of wood. I mean, I have cleared the top shelf almost completely, which doesn't really matter, but there are some thinner pieces, thicker pieces. Some of these have some screws that I have to take out, and then obviously some broken pieces and random kind of on the end. But everything here is over 111. So we're first going to take the screws out. These are much thicker, stronger pieces, so I'll get one of these on the bottoms. The thinner pieces, I can put them on the tops because there's not going to be as much weight at the very top as there is at the bottom. At least pressing out, you know. So yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I got a lot more than I thought I would, and I still have 1 or 2 pieces on top and in the middle, and I have a lot more then which are still smaller if need be. So yeah, it's a good start. It's a good start. So I'm gonna get these screws taken out, and then we'll start putting things in place. Oh, it's coming together, isn't it? It's coming together. Now, a lot of these are not exactly 111. Some of them are slightly a little bit longer. I'm not going to go ahead and cut every single one because it does not have to be exactly perfect. It's a woodshed. It does not matter. It just needs to be strong, sturdy, and do the job. So I'm not going to spend all day cutting every fine little detail. No, there's no need. So if they stick out a little bit at the back, because there is a few centimeters spare, as you can see, there's a few centimeters spare. I've nailed this up against the headboard that I built. I purposely left a few centimeters down so this sits against it because I don't really want much on these walls. But so, you know, if it sticks out a little bit, it does not matter. It does not matter. Some of these other long ones, you know, I will have to cut, but they're more like last, you know, to go further up, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, let's let the show begin. Okay, now the bottoms are done, now we can do the 2 tops. You'll notice that I have not screwed the 2 middles in, because this whole room is wonky. Again, I've made it just see this, see that, cut this, cut that, screw this, screw that. I don't do measurements in here. There's no need. It doesn't have to be, as I keep saying. But anyway, so I've left the 2 middle ones unattached at the minute. So now what I want to do is do the top ones. Do one this side, one that side, just the ends, because then I have kind of an outer structure which is more solid. Then I can line up the 2 middle ones, screw them in. Once I've got all 4 corners kind of as level as needed in this type of, you know, project, then And then yeah, I can just fly through the rest of it and just bang on every other piece of wood. But yeah, I need a step ladder or something because I am too short. Battery died. Okay, happy days. So we got everything as straight as can be, you know, because obviously this, oh, there's the screw, which I dropped earlier, because obviously I'm butterfingers. Yeah, because this room is not straight anyway, so it doesn't matter. Does not matter. Point is, we have a solid cube, which is pretty sturdy, to be honest. The base is solid. They are good for what we need. So, what I am now going to do is just put all the rest of the boards on. So we'll start with the bigger ones. I may put a supporting middle in somewhere here. So another 4 pieces basically across the middle, because I don't quite know how much wood I'm gonna have total. I mean, so all this to cut, all this to cut, and all this to cut. So I don't know how high that's all gonna come up, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I'll see how we go. But yeah, I am thinking to attach 4 more of these somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle here. Just to give the middle a bit extra brace. Maybe. It seems logical to me. It seems logical, you know. And then yeah, just put a load of I don't know what I'm gonna do about the underneath yet, to be honest. I'm still contemplating. What to do. But you know, this is part of the fun, isn't it? We just play it by ear, as they say. Go with the flow. So yeah, not gonna do much talking now. Just gonna go through a lot of these boards. I'm gonna alternate between thick, thin, thick, thin, and just I don't need to have them completely sealed because you know the trees, timbers cut, whatever, they're not gonna fall out of the walls. But yeah, let's jump back into it. Okay, I'm just contemplating something because I just remembered that I have some boards in the garage, and I'm just thinking if there's anything I'm going to need them for at all. Otherwise, I could put them in here, because if I'm just doing this slats at a time, I'm going to use a hell of a lot for both sides. Whereas if I can put one big sheet there, you know, do you know what I mean? I'll go have a look and measure it, and then I'll come back to you. I'll let you know. Give me a second. Okay, so yeah, I'm not gonna put the sheets on the sides. As I said, I'm gonna carry on with the slats because I found 2 big sheets and they fit perfectly on the bottom. Obviously, I have this gap to kind of fill, but you know that doesn't really matter too much because these are thick boards, and they'll serve a lot better on the bottom than they will on the sides. Now I have one other sheet. You can see it over there. Like maybe not because of the light. Here there's a big green sheet, so I can use maybe one of them for the sides as well, just to help myself, so I don't have to use loads of wood. But otherwise, yeah, we'll just carry on with what we're doing. Smalls, and whatever else we have here. You know, if I get to a certain point, what is this? He thinks this is a new house for him. Yo. He's just looking for what wood he can chew, because that's all he does. Steals my wood, doesn't you? Yes. Yes, you do. All the wood that I cut and I stack in here, you can see the one on the end there, he takes them out. He chews them in the garden. Yeah. Yeah, so we'll just carry on. If we get to a certain point where we run out of wood, well then, you know, so be it. It is what it is. I got to work the end of this week, so I'll just try and bring some more wood home and I'll finish it next time. But at least I can get if I can get as high up as possible with all the wood that I have, find something just to fill this gap, and then start cutting all the wood that's outside because it's all over the garden at the minute. Get all that in, stacked, you know, as much as possible. And then, yeah. So far, so good. It's looking good. It's looking good. It'll do the job nicely, you know. Every time I come home, he's chewed more of my wood. Every single time. Every single time. That's not your wood. Ah, he knows. Okay, I digress. Let's continue. Where's the end of the piece gone? Oh no. Can't believe I lost the piece. It's gonna be, it's obviously somewhere in here. I had to go get another one. I'll probably watch the video back later and try and figure out where it is, but you know, happens to the best of us. Okay. I was just looking for pieces of wood for the middle strip, you know, and the wifey brought me a iced creamy coffee. This is lovely. This is well needed. Oh my god. Okay, let's carry on. Okay, so that's done. Oh, let me move the camera. So as you can see, there's a few gaps, you know, but it doesn't matter. The main thing is that the wood's going to sit against it, and same this side is solid. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get 2 beams and attach them to here and go straight across to the other side, because I want there to be a little bit of weight. I want there to be a little bit of help holding the middles of these, because if I just stack this, all the way to the top, all of that weight is going to be in the middle trying to push out. So I'm going to get 2 beams, 2 of these beams, cut them to 200, I think it is, but I'll double check anyway. So I'm going to get 2 beams, cut them, put them here, one here to there, one here to there, and then we can basically just start cutting wood. That's it. Like I said, I want there to be a little bit of a middle support. It'll be a little bit daft as I get closer to it, stacking, but it's needed. It's needed, definitely. So yeah, I'll get the 2 pieces cut. We'll carry on. Just rip my vest on the wall. Great. And that's it. Nice. With these 2 main supports in place, at least no matter how much weight I put on that side and that side, this will hold it. Perfect. So, put all the electrics away and start sawing. I might clear a little bit of space here, because I would ideally like to just cut, just go through as many as I can. When I have a huge pile here, then I'll just stock it into the storage, rinse and repeat. But a few hours we'll get this done. So let's get it set up and start cutting. This is gonna be a long day. Oh, what are you doing in there? Hey, what are you looking for? You can probably smell mouses. Right, let's crack on. Hey! Okay, radio is set up, ready to go. Unfortunately, you're not allowed to listen to it because of YouTube, you know, etc, etc. So, yeah, I'll put on some music for you. Sit back, relax, and enjoy a lot of wood cutting. I tell you what, it is hot to be doing this. I'm dripping. But I mean, it's going well. I got a good process. Obviously, I understand this is not the safest way to be doing it. There's no safeguard on it, you know, but it is what it is. We have to just make the best of the situation. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below. Do you think all the wood that I have is going to fill this halfway? Full? Let me know, because I can't guess yet, you know, but it's looking nice, it's looking nice. It's going to hold a lot of wood, and if I do get about halfway, which I think I probably will, I'll have to put some more, obviously, strips on there just to stop the wood going out, but we can worry about that later, because right now, we're just going to crack on with this. If it's needed, I do have plenty of smaller pieces to fill all the gaps, so that's not a problem. So yeah, let me know in the comments. As I said, I've got all this to cut. There's one pile. We've pretty much smashed half of the pile that was here, so we still have all this to go through. And then we have this pile here. The sun's on it, so you can't really see it. There you go. So there's another pile. I'm pretty sure it's gonna fill it. I'm pretty sure. My guess is 100% over the halfway. That would be lovely, because that means we have a lot of wood for the future. But yeah, as I said, let me know what you think, because this wall is also not very good. Can you see the light coming through there? You see that light there? Yeah, that's obviously the neighbors. These walls are not the best, so I'm trying not to put. I'll try not to put any weight on the wall as well. Just stack it up, you know, but we'll see how it goes. Obviously, if it gets to this area, the wall is a little bit further back. As you can see, it's a little bit further back, but theoretically there shouldn't be any weight on that back wall because everything's stacking on top of each other, you know, so. But yeah, we'll see how we go. Let's just get more wood, rinse and repeat. Let's make a big pile here, and then we can put all this in here and repeat all day. This is a good Thursday. I have today and tomorrow. I do have some garden work that I have to do, but I have today and tomorrow to cut as much of it as possible to put it back. If I can, I would like to probably cut this area before the one next door, because I have all the other wood in the garage, which I would like to bring in here and store it in my unit. So getting rid of some of this will help, but there's quite a few of these I can't cut because they're too big, but we'll worry about that as we go on. I'm rambling, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna quickly go get a drink of water because I am thirsty, and then we carry on. That was the last one from outside. Yes! Whew. How do I zoom out? You don't want to see this ugly face up too close. Oh my god, that was a lot of cutting. But yes, we have finished outside. Nice. These things I need to tidy up and sort. But look at that. Look at the pile we have. Oh my god. Lovely jubbly, lovely jubbly. So now go through, sort it all, make it look tidy, neat, and then we will start on some of these. Do it!
Co to ta pamtrková dráha je, protože sám jsem, jak někteří mý kolegové, starožitní, takže úplně nejlepší je to taková dráha, kde máte různé kopečky a cíle a vlastně jezdíte z kopečka do kopečka, máte to ještě různě zakřivené, no a pohyby vlastního těla vyklujete a zpomalujete, a to právě na kolečkách, anebo třeba i na skejtech, nebo i na bruslích. Takže jako hraní si s tělem je to vcelku zábava, díval jsem se i na YouTube na nějaká jakože videa a popravdě baví to nejenom děcka, ale i dospělí, takže pokud jste z Boršic a okolí, máte kolo, koloběžky, brusle, anebo třeba i ten skate, tak můžete vyrazit. Radio Jižní Moravy. No a
Not safe in here. These are the last ones that I have here. Oh my god. Oh. I mean, I'm so hot. Oh, Jesus. I am so hot. I'm literally dripping. It's gotta be high temperatures still here. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. So, as I said, all this wood is finished. And now, all this wood is put away. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful. We missed one. We missed one. Where should we put him? Where does he fit? Huh? Yeah, if you haven't noticed, I'm a little bit OCD with certain things. So each of them has a nice little place. And that is perfect. No, it's not yours. No. He thinks I've cut it all ready for him. You can have one. You can have... look how excited he is. You can have... Let's have a look. Give me a small one for him. What is this? Sit. Sit. Good boy. Paw. Give me paw. Oh, well, that's not exactly paw, is it? That's mouth. What do you do with the other ones? I give him anyway. I already give him two. Look, she's got one. Can I have this back now, please? Thank you. Ready? Good dogs. Yeah, sorry, I get distracted. It does happen a lot, but there you go. But look at that. That is beautiful. Beautiful. So yeah, look at all the sawdust so far. I will keep all this, to be honest, because I use sawdust to repair cracks in woods. Look at it. Look at the pile. And underneath, oh my god, look at it. And we still got loads more to go. So yeah, a lot of this I'll be keeping because this is great to mix with glue, and it makes a paste. You know, if I want to fill any cracks, for example, this crack here, well, I mean, it's not a crack, it's connected. But if I want to fill that, you just mix the paste. You mix this with glue, and you just put it in, and it's like, it's really good sealant. So, yeah, I'm going to go for a drink because I am thirsty, let me tell you. And then, I think we'll just carry on cutting. We'll just start with these. Sorry, I don't know where the camera is. We'll just start with these. Whatever I can't cut, I'll put outside with the other big ones. Just slowly work my way through this. And then I need to figure out, I think I need to clear on top of here, because I have a lot of basically just dry kindling in boxes, as you can see, because we have a lot of fires. Behind this is more of them, see? So I need to put these two boxes here on top of that, so they're out of the way. But that will be later. So yeah, let's go for a drink. And do me a favor, if you've watched this far, I appreciate it. Hit the like button, will you? Because it helps me a lot. Shows me anyone's watching, you know? I mean, I don't mind, I enjoy this anyway, so I do this for my own fun. But if someone's watching it and you love my dangerous saw cutting, because you see how many times it got stuck? Yeah, I do not recommend doing this. Definitely not. I'm a trained professional. I'm a trained professional, so I know what I'm doing. I don't, I'm just joking. But yeah, please don't copy this at all, because you take your finger off. I don't want to be held liable. Not that that would be, but anyway. Drink, and back to it. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, are we ready to carry on? Now, I don't know how much memory I still have on this card because I've been recording a lot. So the camera may just shut off. I'll try to keep an eye on it, and then I can put a new card in. But yeah, if I don't and you miss something, I'm sorry. Anyway, I see you. I see you. Let's go. Hey, what are you doing? Don't lay down. Yeah, I'm going to do this a little differently, but when I cut them and I have them on the table, I'm just going to stack them straight away here because my back is shot and I just don't fancy keep bending to pick up these things up, picking and throwing when I still have a lot more to go. I'm probably halfway through. So yeah, I'll alternate the camera between cutting and stacking, so you get to see a bit of both. we are flying through it. Look at this. It's about my stomach height, I think. This is what we've got left of this pile. It's hardly anything. And then there's still that pile next door. I've put a few trees out here, or stumps. They're ones I can't cut. And then there's basically these here left. So, what I'm gonna do, because now I know I'm 100% not gonna fill it. Yeah, so I'm definitely not gonna fill it, which is cool. It's fine. There's enough wood there for probably 2 winters anyway. But this one beam here is annoying me. Like, to get to the back as well, I've hit my head on it like twice. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this beam out, and I don't know if I'm either gonna just move it up, because I'm thinking if I just move it higher, this middle one, it probably doesn't need it, to be honest. It probably doesn't even need this support, but I like overkill. So I'm gonna take it out, and I'm either gonna put it higher, so it's out of the way, so it's up here somewhere. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I just solved my own answer. Because I want to be leaning in here to get stuff. And like, especially to get to the back now, it's awkward, you know? So, yeah, that's what I'm going to quickly do. Go get the drill and everything. Take this out, move it up here, so it's out of the way, and then carry on. Because the amount that I've got left, because I made this so wide and so deep, it fills. It easily takes everything. So that's good for me. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. Move this up, and then carry on cutting. I don't even know what the time is now. I've been cutting all day. Cutting and moving all day. 20 past 2, so we just carry on, you know. It's a good thing I like wood, because this would be annoying, but that's much better. Now, probably again, as I said, it's probably not needed at all. But, you know, I like overkill. It's all solid, it's not going... These are not going anywhere anyway, you know. And, I mean, to be fair, they're not even resting on the wall here, which is good. And the same the other side, so... time will tell. We'll see in the future, you know. But... okay, come on, back to cutting. Oh, this is the last tree from this room that needs to cut. I'll show you. We've only got one more pile left. Wow. It's a lot of wood. See, this area now finished. Not finished obviously, but at least all the wood is cut from here. That's nice. That's really nice. There was some I had to put outside. Okay. So now the last bit of cutting is here. I'm gonna have a quick drink. It's hot here in Czech. It's very hot. And I am dying. I've been cutting all day. What is the time still? Almost 4. Lovely. All day cutting. Okay. Yeah, put you back. I'm gonna go get a quick drink. And just start on the last part. Oh, I'm so chuffed. So chuffed. I've been wanting to cut this for like 2 months or 3 months since we had the delivery, but it was just finding time because I wanted to make the unit. Look at it. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Okay, drink and we'll carry on. the last 3. Oh. Ah. Okay, I am done. I'm not cutting anymore. I mean, there's nothing left really to cut on this. I smashed the pile as well, kind of sorted it. All these bigger ones I'll have to do with the chainsaw, so they can all stay till Christmas time. And then obviously these here need to be cut for Christmas. But everything else that was needed to be cut has been cut. Look at it, beautiful. It's like 3 or 4 deep. It's basically my chest height now. Hundreds of little pieces. So yeah, happy with that. Now I need to tidy up. Look at the sawdust. Look at the size of that. Yeah. Like I said, I'm gonna try and touch the camera and I don't know what I've done. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna try and keep most of it. I'll find some bags to put a lot of it in. But oh, I'm glad that's done. I am dead. Okay, what have we got to do left? I don't know, I need a drink though. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there because I'm done. I'm not cutting anymore. Looks good, doesn't it? Looks very good. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna have a quick tidy up off camera because it's just boring tidying, sweeping. You don't need to see that. You've seen the best bits, I hope, or what I call the best bits anyway. If you enjoyed, leave a like. I'm exhausted. I've been cutting all day. All day. Yeah, 5:30. Whew. I think I need to go lay down, you know? Nice. Awesome. Thank you for watching. And I will see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao for now.